where the intro theme music would play. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, ba-da-ba. Keep on Cybertrucking.
There you go. Yeah,
The
that's what we
Cybertrucking
need.
dancers.
We need a proper intro like that, not me just talking. But hello and welcome to Keep on Cybertrucking, a podcast where three or two Cybertruck owners share their experiences as well as talk about all things electric vehicles and technology. We have Chase, we have William, my name is Eric. We have a lot to talk about, guys.
It's been a busy week.
We have a lot to talk about. Number one, glad to see, William, that you're feeling better, because I know last week you were ill.
Thank you.
Chase, everyone's
good.
good? Everyone's good?
Benadryl worked and everyone's all safe now. So it's
good. All right, fantastic. So glad you guys are all good. William, floor is yours.
Sir. So yeah, I guess I gotta come clean now. I'm hoping Eric will keep me on the podcast. But I am now officially no longer a Cybertruck owner. I sold my Cybertruck yesterday. At a very nice dealership in Garden Grove, and yeah, there was something weird about waking up that morning and having everything go through, and it's kind of like, oh, so it's not there anymore. It's not mine anymore. So my son is currently out of town with his birth mom, so I'm assuming when he comes back he'll be super bummed about it too. But I have a little toy Cybertruck that I got for him, so we're gonna be like, we'll get another one. We'll get another one.
The little one that he can drive around.
No, we're not.
Just get him the ATV, the little electric
those
ATV.
Those are for sale. I keep seeing those in like Facebook Marketplace get advertised to me. I see them. The kids ATV thing.
Yeah, I've been wanting to buy one, but it's hard to justify the $1,900. I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, when you can go get electric ATVs of the same size, yeah, it's not Tesla branded, but you can get one for like $500.
Yeah.
It's like,
get a couple of vinyl stickers, just make your own Tesla logos, slap them
exactly.
on. Done. We're good.
We could just, kind of put one together. Why not? People do it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I want to show you guys something that I found entertaining, and hope you guys do too. And it goes into that whole talk of putting together a make-believe Cybertruck. So you guys see this?
I mean, yeah.
You just do that. Will, give that to your son.
Where's the lie, as they say?
So what we're showing here is it's like a golf cart conversion of to a Cybertruck. So it's stainless steel, has a light bar in the front. It's electric.
Yeah. You can't convince me that the front of that thing doesn't look like Iron Man's helmet.
It 100% does.
Here it comes. Bam. Tony Stark.
Yep. So you could always just do that. Why not?
But there's also another guy that like made one out of like an ice truck. He put like stuff on the outside to make it look like a Cybertruck, like Baja. I'll have to pull that up a little later.
Chase, maybe put up your volume just a little bit. I could hear you, but just maybe a little bit.
Yeah, there we go.
So I see Will's in the chat, but we have Jay and Bill saying hello. So
yeah,
what's up, Jay? What's up, Bill?
I realized there was nothing stopping me from just jumping into the chat, so I'm like, all right, I'll just be a menace everywhere.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I didn't realize that. I wanted to talk about also. Not sure if you guys have seen in the news some interesting. The USPS is kind of getting into the, Rivian is doing.
They're starting to do their EVs. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing electric vans for USPS. So I know they were doing them for Amazon.
Yeah, and I think that Amazon kind of either owns a portion of Rivian or something to do with this design, because I think that it was because they were called the electric delivery vehicles, the EDVs, and then they
Mm-hmm.
started seeing them for sale, used. I think recently, like it was like within the last 6 months,
Really
people were like, "Oh crap, I could buy an EDV finally." And I think it was around that time that
interesting.
Amazon had announced or indicated that they changed it from requiring a delivery vehicle to now a delivery vehicle platform. So now Amazon is directly involved with the platform, and it's Rivian is going to be like, okay, who wants one of these? And now they'll start making it for everybody. They started with the post office, which is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I seen one, an Amazon truck, Rivian. I think I told you guys a few weeks ago, and I wanted to stop him and be like, man, I want to check it out. He would have been like, this is the weirdest thing ever.
They'd be like,
But
this is
also,
the weirdest thing ever.
yeah, just like, okay, this guy wants to see my van.
Did you have candy?
Yeah, but I've seen this post of this
Oh hell yeah!
odd USPS postal truck. One thing I found interesting is if you see this windshield, how it has this cutout to where they can see directly in front of them. Oh, okay. Well, that didn't work out.
No.
It's like a miniature version of the semi where you're kind of the driver's in the center.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, we lost that. But yeah. So I think that's pretty interesting. The fact that it looks like USPS is really getting into the EV game, and they're wanting to transition their vehicles over that way. So
yeah, that's a perfect market for it because you're short trips. It's perfect. Yeah.
I feel like somebody must have done like a documentary or something about it because I believe that like the postal truck that we know, like you and I think of when you think of the delivery van or whatever, the postal truck, like it's based on, isn't it like based on a design from like the 1970s and it's been running this whole time and there hasn't been any issues with like any, like they were purpose built for this purpose. They have a top speed that's very low and they can just work like beasts and they have for like decades. So I think that it's a huge endorsement if they usually make that kind of play on their delivery transportation and now they're showing a pivot into EVs like these designs. I'm like, okay, they believe in this. They think this is going to be like the next 20 years of utility out of those vehicles. And I mean, I feel like that's a huge, I feel, we would have hit a spot before. It's like, oh, electric vehicles for service. Those will never make them because electric vehicles are niche. They're luxury. They're something. This shows that it's like, no, this is very much capable and future. So it maybe not for everything or everyone, but that's awesome.
Plus, it's a huge cost savings. Like we talked about how my brother's police department up in Kansas City, they switched over and they've got 2 Model Ys as cruisers, and they're saving $70,000 a year just in gas and upkeep from those two, or from each vehicle. And we saw another story even coming out of California recently that it was a similar number, is about $80,000 per vehicle that they were saving. So yeah, it makes total sense.
I think I saw that I think it was on Reddit, talking about the cash savings to the departments is something like, $70,000 in maintenance. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's a whole salary right there. It's a whole other person.
Yeah, I think this is what you guys were talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're saving $80,000 a year in fuel costs.
It's per vehicle.
Where is this? This is in Indianapolis. So,
yeah.
Because, I mean, when you really think about the patrol vehicles, I mean, they're out on the road all day, every day.
Yeah.
The amount of gas that they're using.
And, I mean, remember how much modern patrol cars and stuff, they have a fair amount of electrical need in the cabin when the driver is sitting there. So, I mean, having something that's an EV platform that I imagine if they're selling these to police departments, either Tesla's doing it or somebody's doing it. They have to be doing some sort of a power retrofit to be able to power the cruiser's laptop and CB radios, all that other additional electric draw. Now there's literally a lithium battery there running it. I mean,
yeah, I think that's actually what they've done.
Gas and some sort of like a marine battery inside or something. But that's awesome.
Exactly. I think my brother's cars, they're basically they've got a whole separate battery system that's just to run like the lights, sirens, and all the extra stuff on top of everything else.
Yeah, and that's additional weight, which causes additional loss of efficiency for the gas. I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
The loss is not fantastic.
Not to mention even the cage for the back if you want to hold anybody too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wanted to show as well. We're talking about all these new things that they're doing, all these new electric vehicles. So Mitsubishi came up with the new concept for kind of like an overlanding van.
Yeah.
It looks very similar to that USPS car that we just seen.
Yeah.
But this is, I mean, I just like, and I know we've talked about it many times, but I just like the fact that it's making people innovate, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and I feel like the Cybertruck was the first one to really, really start pushing that. Because this van right here, this vehicle isn't the most attractive to me, but I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, I can appreciate that.
And I'm honestly hoping, because I've seen these design. Yeah, there we go. I want to see the inside of these things, because having a battery electric platform and freeing up that space, like we talked, I think about 2 weeks ago with that Bolliger design where it had like literally a tunnel straight through the car, so you could haul like 20-foot pipe in your car, and that's such a crazy innovation. I like that they're going crazy sci-fi Blade Runner, but like happy, like Jedi Knight kind of a vibe to the aesthetic on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that now's the time I want to start seeing these manufacturers pivoting towards the cabin experience, because it's like the car is the car, and you've got a huge battery. At some point, they need to start doing some impressive stuff inside, like have a PlayStation 5 mount with HDMI screens or something, or how if this is an overlanding van, I'm like, okay, so does that mean that the interior can change shape in a way that makes it efficient as a vehicle and also a sleeper? Like,
Well, it does look like right here in this photo that the
yeah,
middle row or the back row, it seems like they're loungers.
yeah, okay, yeah.
So
So you've got a hell
it's
of
a
like a tour
concept.
vehicle. That's awesome.
Yeah. And one thing I like too is, I mean, it kind of really shows that it's made for off-roading, overlanding type of situations. You see how the light projects onto the floor, and I'm assuming that's to show you where your tires are going to be going over at night. And so that's
Oh,
something that's pretty interesting.
yeah, that's cool.
So I just wanted to show that because I came across this and I thought that was kind of cool.
Tell me that steering wheel is not enormous. Like, look at the scale of the dashboard. Look how much of the dashboard that steering wheel takes up.
Yeah, that is a big
It's
steering
like
wheel.
it's like a boat wheel.
But do they even need that much? Like, assuming they're going to use steer-by-wire, they shouldn't need that much steering wheel,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a concept. I'm sure if this ever hits the actual sales floor, I'm sure a lot of this is going to change.
I'll say this. I grew up in Florida. I spent a lot of time at Disney World. I went to Epcot a whole lot. Horizons and Spaceship Earth ride and that kind of thing. These visions of the future were the most thrilling part of those trips sometimes. It was like seeing the companies try to innovate, really try to see what's possible. I feel like it's something that's been lost in the last 10 years, especially in cars. Like they push the envelope so much. A neighbor I had, or a friend growing up, he had a Nintendo and a TV screen in his van. It blew my mind. I'm like, this is the future. Star Trek, beam me up. I'm in. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So seeing cars kind of go stagnant, and they're like, what's an MP3? I'm so stoked at the possibilities that they're going to start poking at when it comes to this, because that's where they're going to see what the next evolution of being a passenger in a vehicle looks like, what the new expectation is, what's the new air conditioning. We don't advertise it. Everyone just expects it. So what's next? It's cool.
Well, I think what's next is something that Kanye West is trying to come out with, apparently.
Oh, Lord.
This is actually an older concept, right?
Yeah, it's a different. I thought that this was a specialty, and then people just started like joking that it was like, oh no, it's a
Kanye's. I know.
It's hilarious.
But I like the comment where it says this dude is driving a DVD player.
Right.
It totally looks like that. So.
Oh my gosh.
I thought that was funny.
If that thing was parked in front of your house, like who do you call? Who do you like? the cops, the FBI, NASA, like that thing's just sitting there. You're like, I have no
Yeah,
idea.
for real. You're gonna think that it's a spaceship for
UFO.
sure.
Yeah, it's like it's all reflective.
It's it's reflective for sure. So another thing, and something that as you guys know, RVs, trailers, I get excited about those type of things. I also get excited when I see the innovation in the boating industry, and
Ooh.
they're now coming out with all electric boats.
Yeah.
Pretty expensive. I think if you come down here, you're looking at 258,000, 322,000. I mean, that's a lot of money. But one thing that I always tell people, because since I've done videos on these EV trailers, I get a lot of comments on, they're too expensive. There's no way I would buy that for that much money. But what I tell people is, what we want to see is people pushing them out, actually selling them. And then once they're selling, competition will come in. And as competition comes in, prices will start to come down. So I get excited to see that there's now these electric boats by Arc Boats. And I'm sure, soon enough, there'll be electric Sea-Doos and this and that. And the prices will start to come down just like electric cars. So
Yeah. So one interesting thing is, and this just is total happenstance. So my neighbor growing up, shout out Marcelino. He is the CEO or founder of a company called Photon Marine. And
okay.
after having a pretty successful business in Portland, doing, I guess, like boutique advertising stuff, he got into Photon Marine, and they are, as far as I can tell, they're another electric. They're an electric outboard boat engine company. So it looks like Arc looks like they're selling the whole boat, in the design, and that's awesome because we need that. But then I think that you've got other companies also as well, kind of branching into what's possible with an electric motor, and apparently they're looking at putting them in outboard boats and just not needing to buy the whole boat, just flip it onto your boat, and then obviously they have a power source solution, I'd imagine. But
What I like honestly about that is something that I think I brought up before, of companies that are selling kits to convert old classic cars that don't have engines anymore into an EV. And I think that's something we could see a resurgence of there. You could easily refurbish an old boat with an electric motor on the back that cheaper than you could just rebuilding the boat with the engine. Like engines you're not going to find anymore, you can easily replace. But I guess the battery is going to be the situation I would question with an outboard motor. Like, is it all contained? Or do they?
it looks like it's separate. I may be reading. I don't know. I have to click more of this, but I think that it. Oh, okay. So some of these do have the battery inside the motor. So
Interesting.
like whereas normally you'd have the gas tank up at the top, and then outboard down to the prop. This probably takes the gas tank and it's like, okay, it's just a bunch of cells, and it looks like the battery sizes. I mean, battery capacity up to 126 kilowatt hours. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Is that
keep
your
saying it.
buddy's company?
That's Photon Marine. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
cool
think
too.
the Arc boats, they have, at least one of the boats I seen was like 226 kilowatt hours, which that's huge.
That is huge. I mean,
That's huge.
Yeah.
is my math off? Am I completely because I mean, the Cybertruck's 123 kilowatt hours, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this boat engine is 126.
Yeah.
I imagine it's harder to push the propeller through water than it is wheels, though. So it's probably
That's what
working
I
a
was
lot
kind of
harder.
thinking.
I think that it's a much bigger because the prop spinning probably has a greater resistance, and therefore the horsepower the horsepower drop off for, I guess, electric motors versus this, it's probably got to be way worse because you just have more drag on it, and the horsepower is already bad. Unless they found a way to optimize it, which I'm imagining that if they're advertising 500 newton meters of force and stuff. So, or sorry, 500 newton meters of torque.
And you
300
also have to
horsepower.
think
Yeah.
about there's no infrastructure for charging.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to sit there and go, oh, I'm just going to pull up to a dock and there's a
Yeah.
charger and we could just charge up for 15 minutes and I get back out in the water. And, you got to actually take it out of the water take it somewhere, charge it. So they need probably that battery to last all day. So
yeah.
It's kind of cool though. We're seeing innovation, I think, in the outdoor space that we would have never seen if it wasn't for the Cybertruck. I would say,
Yeah, I we've heard talks of electric trucks for quite some time. A lot of them never came to fruition. Think Rivian was probably the first actual mass-produced type of vehicle, I guess you could say. That's a truck. But the Cybertruck, I just feel like they pushed the envelope. They innovated, and that I think is then striking. And I think because they had so many pre-orders, you have all these RV companies and boat companies going, okay, well, if there's going to be 2 million potentially Cybertrucks out on the road, and say 200,000 of those are going to actually want to tow with it, we need to have products for them. And so there you go. So I'm excited about it. I'm happy that it's now crossing into all these other industries and pushing everything forward. Wanted to show this in case you want to get a hybrid of a boat, an EV boat, and an EV car. You can do this.
Oh my God!
You can get the water car and just go straight into the water.
Okay, so I was over when I was over at Tesla Service Center dropping off my Cybertruck last week, or sorry, the week before, or last week. I was standing outside. Some dude drove by in a truck and shouted "assholes" at all of us standing in front of Tesla. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna say that guy right there, him. I would shout "asshole" at him. This guy's driving this boat around. I don't feel. I don't. They look like military, like pontoons. It looks like there's an invasion, and I don't like the look of this invasion. It looks very bland. I don't like it. So.
Is like traffic really that bad in Miami that they're like, I gotta take the canals? Like,
It is now. Traffic sucks everywhere now. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, I need that water option. Yeah, sure you do.
Like, I might as well just buy a flying car at that point,
Yeah. Well, I have one pre-ordered, so leave me alone.
What?
No, I'm just playing.
Or like one of the drones.
You got the money for the Dyson? Oh shit, get that thing. Have you seen that thing? It's like a personal UAV, all these drone things. Oh my God. But that dude's got like it's like in the Australian outback. And you need a pilot's license and stuff, but it looks amazing. So.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get into not necessarily that, but some other stuff. But we have Bill in the comments, and he mentioned that he has a buddy who works on an electric boat in a marina. It's used 3 days a week and recharges via solar on the Bimini. I'll never say that word. But yeah, so that's cool. That's what there needs to be more of. I get so many, and I don't know, I'm sure you guys have too. I've got so many people commenting on why didn't Tesla put solar panels on the tonneau. Makes a lot of sense.
Cost, I think, and
of course
trade-off, because even if, like you said it before, it's like if you don't have enough square footage solar panels to like continually drive, so kind of what's the point? Like you're going to kind of offset maybe like 30%, but maybe that's enough. I don't know.
I think that because it's like monocrystalline, or I guess quartz or monocrystalline solar panels. They have a predictable amount of energy voltage you can draw per square foot or whatever it is. So I mean, looking at the roof or the tonneau area, it's like it isn't enough to make it cost effective. But somebody did bring up one thing that they had pitched was a tonneau or a retrofitted tonneau that would, when parked, it could like fold open like a kind of a 3-panel system. And somebody ran the numbers for that, and they were like, actually that size of a panel based on the tonneau size times 3, and if it had a some sort of a mechanism to drive it, it could actually generate something like I don't know, it was like 1 to 2 kilowatts hours per hour. Yeah, it's one or something like that. And the calculation was like, oh, that would make sense. And there were a bunch of people being like, no, it's useless. I'm not waiting. But it's a lot of people being like, no, if this is a work truck on a ranch, I sometimes drive out somewhere and I do work for a couple of hours. It would be amazing to be able to throw that open to at least throw a little bit of energy back in. Have the option.
Yeah.
And then you have
Yep.
people who go camping. If you're out
Yep.
in the woods for 3 days and the car's sitting still,
Yep.
fantastic. It would be
Yep.
fantastic.
To me, that's a game changer. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, so or was it 2 weekends ago, I went camping. I think I told you guys, I plugged in the my RV, my trailer, into the Cybertruck, and I want to see how long I can go. Well, it didn't
Mhm.
go as long as I wanted it to. Spoiler alert.
Oh,
But
geez.
if you had the solar panels, yeah, even if it's just trickle, just giving
Mhm.
me a little bit, just to kind of get me going a little bit longer. I mean, I just don't see why. And I know cost. I understand the whole cost thing, but once again, I don't think solar panels are expensive or as expensive as they once were.
Mhm.
Is it really going to cost that much? I mean, you're already charging
Mhm.
that much more for the vehicle. We're at $100,000, $120,000 for this car, for the Cybertruck, when it was said it was going to be 60. I mean, throw some solar panels and give me my little rear view mirror camera.
Yeah, I
So
think
upset
that
about
in
that.
it was when a couple months ago when MKBHD went on the rampage and single-handedly bankrupted Fisker or whatever happened. If you watch that review, I mean he is talking about the fact that the solar panels on the roof, and he's like, but he looked in the system, and the system itself kind of showed the inefficiency, because you remember solar panels under ideal circumstances are still at best X
Yeah.
efficiency. And then
Yeah.
you got to take into account the car isn't always pointed at the sun, and solar
Yeah.
radiation at certain times of day. I think that there was just enough things. I just want to still see some innovation
Yeah.
of people being like, you know what, I can design. Leave the tonneau design. Have something that bolts into place and has solar solutions, other
Mm-hmm.
options like that. I mean,
They
just go
could have
Mad
very
Max, put a satellite
easily.
dish. I don't know.
They could have very easily had in the bed of the truck a solar panel plug-in. Like
Yes.
my RV has that. My trailer doesn't have any solar panels on the roof, but there's a plug on the side of my trailer that if I bought solar panels, I could just plug them in right there, and it's gonna start powering or keeping my battery charged, and which could
Yeah.
power my
I think they're
trailer.
called, it's an MPPT. I don't remember what the acronym means, but yeah, you can literally just plug in a chain of solar panels,
Yeah.
whatever configuration, and if it's within the voltage allowance, it creates power and it'll send it to a battery if it's
Yeah.
lead acid or a chemistry and it understands.
So
Perfect video idea if you can find the right sponsor for doing solar array panels that you can fold out with the Cybertruck, because we haven't seen anybody do it yet. We've seen someone do it with like a Model 3, like you're saying, with like the panels they folded out, and I think they actually stored it up on top of it. But
Yeah.
because the Cybertruck is so flat and square, I think it would be actually easier to do. You could find the right setup.
yeah.
But I'm thinking, yeah, something you could roll out, because I've even thought about that for a house. I mean, we're in Texas, our power grid is questionable sometimes. So having some type of like battery power backup is definitely on line. And then what I'm thinking is actually doing like an array of batteries that we could power the house, whether it's Tesla batteries or whatnot, but then have those hooked up to be able to, roll out some solar arrays in the backyard in an emergency situation. So it's not like I'm putting solar roof on the house, but something I can use in a pinch.
Yeah, and those are very available. Yeah, they're awesome.
Getting back to the marine life, I just got some stuff I need to show you guys. It's been 2 weeks, so I'm dying to share. So here's another little innovation, right? For those people that don't have many friends or family, they can go water skiing by themselves with this little electric
That's pretty cool.
remote controlled
That is awesome.
device.
That
is pretty
looks
sweet.
looks like Florida, so I'll start with that. But yeah, no, I mean, they've got a lot of these kind of facilities, I know, in Florida, where it's literally just like a retention pond, a clay retention pond, and then they have a cable all the way around so you can ski or kneeboard or whatever it is. But that's so cool.
That is really cool. So that's another little thing
swear,
that they're
If
that
I
they're
was
doing.
younger, I would be getting into so much trouble with some of this stuff. Like, that thing looks awesome, but also like, so I discovered paramotoring, I guess like a year or two ago, and I just keep watching all these videos, and I'm like, dude, these guys are literally flying. And actually, Tucker got his YouTube channel. He just recently reviewed a bunch of electric paramotors, and I looked at them pretty heavily just because I was kind of curious. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you don't get crazy amounts of flight time out of them because you have to carry so much battery that's so much weight. But I mean, you literally got people just flying as a pastime, just killing time. That's like I remember paramotors when they were actual like diesel engines or just lawnmower engines connected to the props. But these look fantastic.
Yeah, well, this is the next thing I wanted to show. So kind of going into that.
Oh,
Drone.
yeah,
Yep.
that's the one.
Yep.
That's
So
crazy. I love that
so
thing.
you can do this in Tahoe.
What?
And yep,
How is that legal?
they're doing little tours with these or rentals this summer.
That is
Which
awesome.
I'm
Looks like
not
I'm
gonna
going to
lie.
Tahoe.
Which
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Crap.
think I'm going up there at some point to do this.
Yeah.
for
for
driving
sure.
the Cybertruck through that sand too while we're at it.
Yeah.
My only question about this is like crash testing. Like I know for a fact if like that hit the ground, those blades are gonna shatter and it's gonna fling into you.
Yeah.
Like I'm not too worried about that roll cage because that looks like it's sturdy enough that you could roll it. That's fine. But yeah, I would be
Yeah.
more afraid of that blade chopping my head off or something.
Yeah, originally when I seen this, I was thinking, oh, okay, it's going to be a two-person thing. They have their certified pilot, and you're just along for the ride. But no, it's a one-seater. So
Yeah. Which again makes me wonder. I'm like, how is that legal? Like, you need to be a manned aerial vessel. I am pretty sure you need, a
I think if you're
license.
under a certain flight level, I think that's where the
yeah,
case
he's pretty
comes in.
close to the ground. It looks like.
Yeah, but like even at like low levels, I mean, even like in uncontrolled space or like 300 feet or whatever, I still think you to be in a manned vessel, therefore in danger. I mean, maybe it's just because it's so remote that it's not considered like a danger. Because wherever he's flying, I don't see anything. Yeah,
he's in Carson City, so
Carson City. Okay.
yeah.
Still cool,
Who
though.
knows? Yeah, this
No
is really
hate to
cool.
Carson City.
No, definitely not.
They're
Definitely
not.
not. We're all going to be visiting to check that out.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were talking about the solar panels for the Cybertruck. So let's go ahead and look at these. So
yeah, there's a startup that I just came across. I think that's a great idea of like supposedly $3,000 for a kit you can throw on the roof.
So how does this work? Because I see there's a picture here. Oh.
Okay.
Have it self-contained straight into the car. Now it's not something you're going to be like driving and
No.
charging at the same time, but it kind of fits that need of like, okay, I need something just to fold out when I'm parked or camping or whatnot.
Does it indicate that there's any kind of so it's literally just the rollout and then maybe like the central system. I wonder if there's like a battery buffer in there or something, because and I'm just trying to think of I think that electric vehicles and most electric, chargers usually, what I'm trying to get at is the voltage can change drastically depending on cloud cover, whatever. So I don't know if the car is going to panic if it's being presented with like, 1 kilowatt of power, 4 kilowatts of power, 2 kilowatts of power, 4, 1, 2, 1, 1, 4. They a lot of times I've seen electric chargers or things like cars. They see that as a danger because they see this fluctuation and it would cut charging. And that's a software level thing with Tesla. So I'm wondering how if there's a way to address that, because I would imagine if they had a battery buffer in the main unit, then they could at least produce consistent power for as long as it could. But
ironically, too, the same startup or the same company also has electric boats too, and they're more like personal craft, like 4 to 6 seater for the same kind of idea.
Do they really?
You go up to
oh
boats.
yeah, right here, boats. Oh my gosh.
So it's cool. A lot of people are getting into this thought.
That is crazy.
for the number of times I went
just
fishing.
gonna say, is it inflatable? Looks like it's inflatable.
Is it? No.
It looks inflatable.
I mean, it looks like rigid plastic that they just put together.
I think that's inflatable. I don't know.
You're right. I think that's okay. Come on. Do a search. Just look for the word inflatable.
Price point. Okay, so that one we're looking at is 14,000. It's not bad for a small little boat. I mean, it's basically a trailing motor in the back, so it's not nothing crazy, but something to like pedal around the lake with.
That is crazy. Inflatable.
Pretty cool.
You got it.
There we go. All right, reach out. Go son. hit us up in the comments. We'll get some sponsorship deals going.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the back of the Cybertruck and go to Tahoe.
Well, this is the way we can do it. Anybody who's watching this, leave a comment down below if you want GoSun to send us one of these boats or allow us to test one of these boats or some type of access or and then I can share that information with them. Say, hey, look, our community wants this. So but yeah, that's cool. That's a good find. Thank you, Chase.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I'm gonna keep that in my browser. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna reach out to those guys. Let's see, what else was I gonna show you guys before we start getting into some serious stuff. Oh, one last thing. Have you guys seen the Cybertron?
I didn't see. I saw the first bit of this, but I didn't sketch actually to see it.
So it's just a Cybertruck that transforms. Obviously, it's computer generated, but I thought that was cool.
Is it? No. Yeah, it looks computer generated. But yeah,
it's computer generated, right, Chase?
I honestly wouldn't put past somebody to build this. Yeah, at this point.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I just don't think it is. But so yeah, that's that. I wanted to also talk to you guys about the. I know we touched on the. No, that's not it. We touched on the semi-truck. Well, there's been a lot more news on that recently, and so right here, this was last week, but because we didn't have the podcast, we weren't able to discuss it. But so Pepsi has taken delivery and is taking delivery of more semis in the upcoming months, which I know we've talked about. Just that, the semi's kind of been on the low down. Not much has been said from Tesla. What else is new? But here you go. Pepsi's taking more deliveries. Here's a blue one right here. It says Sawyer says that they're going to have 86 semis in their fleet. So that's really cool. And then also here is a rendering for the semi-truck manufacturing facility in Nevada.
Okay.
So that's encouraging and cool to see the fact that, what maybe some may have thought a few months ago as the semis may be dead to they're making them. Companies are taking delivery of them, and they're actually designing a facility to manufacture them where they want to pump out 50,000 semis a year from this facility, which is super cool.
Yeah, it's. I feel like there's a bit of an overlap in Tesla's style right now. It's like I'm genuinely curious about. I want to hear Tesla talk about the Cybertruck just as much as I want to hear them talk about the semi. It's like we're seeing volume, we're seeing 50,000 trucks a year. It's 86 trucks went to Pepsi, but I still feel like there's a fair amount of engineering wisdom that's been learned over the years that they were really eager to kind of proudly show off when they first made everyone aware of the Tesla semi. That I'm like, get us excited with that. Let's hear it. Come on, like what did it take to get here with building this thing from the ground up? Like, what's different? What's the same? How did you guys handle the whole rear view mirrors cameras situation? Like, I feel like a lot of that was just like left in the air.
Just it depends on the audience that they're selling to. They're selling to big business, at this point. So
Yeah.
it's all wrapped up in a PowerPoint that someone's gonna write a check for. But yeah, I'm with you there. I really want to know the ins and
Totally,
outs.
but it's like that reveal was like to Tesla enthusiasts, like that was their greatest ally back then. Before when they met up in at events like that, it's like I just want to see them do this, like show off.
Right.
Come on, show off some of the stuff.
So what we really need is Sadie Monroe to tear down the semi truck next.
Yes,
100%.
he needs to just
That'll
like
give us
break
the
into
answers we need.
break into the Pepsi facility, and Sandy was just buzzsaw,
Yeah, right here you can see a convoy of them.
Yeah.
Going down the road. So yeah, Sandy Moreau, he's got to dive deep into this. Let us know everything.
Calling you out, Sandy. Get to it.
Chase knows some people, so I'm sure he's probably got him on speed dial.
Yeah.
I think it might just be a case of getting a hold of one. I probably, if I had to guess.
Oh yeah. That day's coming, I'm sure. Also, what we needed to talk about was the fact that there's been some information on the RoboTaxi.
Yes. Big
time. Yep. So
wait.
Let's turn that down. Let's open this up. So
of course they put it in like a speed cut. And you're like, okay, you gotta go frame by frame to dive in and see all the details.
Yeah, we can. But they showing which I think, where is it? Right here. Yeah, so they showed this at their shareholder meeting, and all of the innovation for the full self-driving, and right there's the app where you can summon the vehicle. You could see that it's coming to you, which is the RoboTaxi showing, and there's the design for the RoboTaxi. We should probably go back and maybe pause that right there.
We saw some renderings of what it would look like, and then I think we're seeing more of a confirmation that this is actually what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be like a little two-seater with a screen, and that's it.
Yeah.
Which is really the future.
Yeah, and it's coming soon, right? The reveal is supposed to be happening really soon here. I wanted to see if I could find. There was something. Oh my gosh. What happens? Oh, there's your girl. Okay, right here.
Bring her back.
Yeah. Talk about the interior.
So you see the two seats, the armrest, the screen in the middle, and that's the first look at the RoboTaxi, which is it is interesting that it looks to be only a two-seater. You would think at least a four-seater, but it's the first iteration and version, so
yeah.
I guess it is what it is.
They may just be aiming for the idea of decreased liability, fewer riders in the car, more likelihood that it's either one person, so therefore they're going to be safe, or one person, like a couple. Nobody rides one-on-one with someone they don't know, but they might split a ride with three people, but they don't want to get into that. I mean, a number of reasons why. Just maybe simplicity.
Yeah, I wanted to show the app as well because I thought that was interesting how this app, it literally is just you like ordering an Uber, right? And that's the whole point.
That's my biggest question about the app. Like, I wonder if in August, when they do kind of announce everything, if they're just going to try to take over the Uber market and allow like Tesla owners to just drive for Uber, but with their own app, or if it's literally just going to be, or if it's just going to be the car themselves, kind of like the original, promise from years ago, where they're like, oh, you could make $40,000 a year having your Tesla drive other people while you're at work, kind of thing. So I'd be curious to see.
It's going to be really curious. Now, this is small detail, but I noticed that you can actually change the temperature of your RoboTaxi before it gets to you, which is kind of cool.
Fair.
Small little details.
Small little aside. So I had a situation last weekend. I believe it was last weekend or the weekend before. It's been a couple weeks, but where we had to we did a photo shoot with my son. He just turned 2 last week. So we had a
Happy birthday.
cake. Thank you. Had a little birthday cake for like a little photo shoot, but we needed to also get dinner on the way to the photo shoot. And it's Texas. It's like 90 to 100 degrees right now. We're full into summer and all that. So I'm like, okay, well, I've got this cake that I'm just gonna leave in the truck. So I turned on the AC and let the AC run all the way down to like 60, and then kept the cake in the truck while we're at dinner. And then it was basically like a giant refrigerator
Wow.
keeping the cake nice and cool. So it was perfectly temperatured by the time we actually got to the photo shoot. So
wow.
if you're in the market for $100,000 refrigerator, I know where.
Well, people already call it a $100,000
with the stainless
refrigerator,
steel
right?
and everything.
Yeah, it is. It's being true to its name.
That's funny.
Oh man.
Well, that's cool though. I mean, the fact that you're able to do that, right, and keep everybody happy was cool.
Very cool.
Now, I didn't know if you guys seen this one as well. This is going to be the guy who took delivery of Cybertruck, and at delivery, he was inspecting the vehicle, and he saw a little smudge. He started rubbing it with his thumb and sliced himself and ended up in the ER.
Oh.
I didn't hear about this.
Do you guys want to see the image?
I already saw it.
Oh, nothing bothers me.
It's not that bad. Yeah, he just caught it.
Yeah.
So
caught the back of his palm.
I've done that a bunch of times.
So I mean, but it I don't know if you guys have had a cyber injury, but it's stainless steel and it is sharp. I haven't cut myself, but I've hit myself in a corner, and I had a bruise on my leg for weeks. That thing hurt. So it's definitely
I mean, I wrapped that portion when I had my truck. I had the sharp edge, if you will, that razor sharp edge you can see. I just used that rubber gasket that I think that I sent you, or the U-shaped stuff, and I just honestly I like the way that it made the truck look, and it protected you from stuff like that. But I just, on the one hand, should they make that a concern? They should have found some way design-wise or accessory-wise to address it. But on the other hand, I do think that it's also kind of a testament to the overall lack of awareness a lot of people are suffering these days, where it's like, okay, then wipe it the other way. Like, put your arm not on the edge of something and wipe. Why did it have to be this side and cut? I don't know. It's like if you drop something into a fire, do you reach in to grab it? Like, if you can get it quickly, but I mean, I don't know. There's smart ways to do things. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a level of awareness that I feel like people would just genuinely need for a lot of situations. But I'll say, even myself, I've not cut myself on the truck in 3-4 months now. And honestly, like, I'll take it through a wash, and I'll be like wiping it down with like two rags or each hand to like dry off all the water droplets. So I'm like doing the same thing, and I've not had any issue. But
yeah,
I'm also, I guess, more aware than the average bear. So
there you go.
I mean, if everybody assumes that every last, it's just one of those. It's a sharp edge. Okay, it's your car. You know it's there. It's not. This isn't a surprise.
I bought a knife with wheels
overnight, and it's like, oh shit, this car is razor sharp. When did that happen? When you bought it.
Well, I mean, that's a fair assessment that, like, people on the internet are like saying that this thing is the most dangerous thing on the road, like, because of the sharp edges. They're like, oh, it's gonna cut someone in half. And it's like, okay.
Did you see that deer?
I did hear about the deer, and apparently it didn't cut it in half.
Yeah, I said
No,
the
it
deer was
didn't.
fine. I mean, it was dead, but it was all together. Not
Yeah, it
not
was
like it
fine.
exploded or anything.
It was
Yeah.
in one whole piece.
Did you guys? Let's kind of get into some of the repairs and issues that we're kind of seeing online and what people are reporting. One of the newest things that I've seen is the rear. What would you call it? The covers, the panels,
Oh yeah.
are flying off, coming apart and flying off for some people, because I've seen multiple people post about something like this. And it goes back to, I think, what we talked about, maybe 2 months ago. The fact that the three of us, felt like the early VINs had less issues than what the trucks are now. And I don't know if that is true. Maybe it's just, as there's more out there, the chances of more issues obviously are going to be there. But
so remember the time. I try to remind myself of the timeline. So I remember that when we were still itching to get our trucks, the sub 1000 VINs, and it was like, okay, they're supposed to be delivering in December, but nobody really was getting them till like mid-January. Back then, they were worried about that plastic piece because it had developed that wavy pattern. And so I think that a lot of the early VINs were probably still being made by a production process that could get those fixed plastic parts, but down the road there was a breakdown in QC as the ramp went up, and somehow the change that they did, maybe it wasn't getting installed correctly, maybe the plastic wasn't able, the production was able to match the ramp or something. I mean, I thought I had heard that some people had also found that there weren't even clips inside. Like it had come off, and when they tried to sit it back on, they couldn't find the clips for it, and so they had to get aftermarket ones to drop into the little circles so that there would be a clip receiver instead of the metal gap.
I wouldn't be shocked if those clips just completely broke off from the inside. Because I'd have to pull it up and we could maybe take a look at it in the next pod. But there was a video that I saw of someone trying to take out and like just display the HEPA filter. And just by like trying to get the HEPA filter out, literally broke the clips off that clipped it in.
Really?
So I wouldn't be shocked if it was using the same clips, and they're pretty fragile. So like once they're broke, it doesn't clip back in.
Yeah.
My other comment was basically they probably just fired the guy that was in charge of that one panel.
Like, screwing them out. You fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I wouldn't be surprised.
If somebody gets a chance to kind of actually like do like a investigative report or just write a book or something about the early days of Cybertruck, I do feel like that will be a chapter. The transition from low volume quality control to ramp up quality control.
Exactly.
The two have to ramp together. You have to manufacture, and then you have to ramp up your watchfulness of what it is that you're, not just what you're ramping and that it's going, but that the quality control is there. And I'm sure that that's one of those things where both groups hate each other. Like the manufacturer's like, it's fine, and QC's like, it's not. So they want to go full blast, but they can't.
Right. They're kind of at odds at each other. The fact that we have, Foundation series with scarcity and ramping up production doesn't sit well together.
Yeah.
Another thing that I seen was the glass roof. This guy had a glass roof replacement, and so he kind of documented just kind of what that process looked like, and just the whole teardown of.
Oh, because they had to tear it out from the inside to get it out?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, they had to take the glass roof off. They had to take off all the trim. So it's just that was fairly interesting, just to see what the inner workings look like.
But that's a cheaper glass fix than the front glass, because we know, at least anecdotally from people online, that they said that top glass is $1,900, and the front glass is more like $26 to $27. So
interesting.
Maybe it was aftermarket glass repair.
Let me see if I can find out. I don't think so. Let's see. They don't say. Yeah, somebody even asked, "Is it from Tesla?" Let's see. Yeah, doesn't say. I'm not going to spend too much time looking for it, but yeah, it doesn't say. But I thought that was interesting to see how that all looked. But I wanted to talk to you guys about some issues that you guys have had recently. I know, Chase, you had a tire issue.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and pull some of that up.
And it's ironic that it happened this last week because at the same time I've heard 3 other people have like some kind of obstruction in their tire. It seems like it all happened at the same time. It was something in the water recently. But yeah, actually, no joke. The screw is still there. I can show you if I want. Like it's still out there. It's in the tire. It hasn't had any issue. I just had no time to go get it fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a thick tire for sure. And a small screw.
Yeah, and then I know that one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, how much are these tires going to cost when you have to replace them? And there was somebody online that shared their experience. So apparently, where he went, it was $490 a tire,
which is about right for all terrains. Like that's all terrain 35 inches. Like that's pretty common. Like that's actually probably half as expensive as I was expecting it to be. Because Goodyear specifically made these for the Cybertruck, so I thought they were gonna like charge.
Yeah, it's in that price range, right?
Yeah.
It's like you said, when you're looking at a tire of this type, that's roughly what it's going to cost, and so it's not surprising. But it's nobody really knew, and now this is kind of a roundabout number of one person what they got quoted. So
totally, and that's literally this is the other post I was telling you about, like that happened this week. Of someone else had a screw in their tire, but apparently he got a bigger screw than I did. He got screwed over harder than I did. The jokes are themselves.
He got screwed.
No, but the cool thing is the main takeaway of this of $490 per tire is you probably have seen, especially if you're an owner and you're in some of the Facebook groups, there are tons of people selling the OEM wheels and tires.
Yeah.
Anywhere from $2,200 to $2,600, kind of in that range. So considering the wheels themselves are $490 a piece, if you get low mile tires and wheels, that's actually a pretty good deal. You probably don't need the wheels, but it would be worth it to have it for a spare tire or a change of tires for a few $100s less than you would spend on new tires. So keep a lookout.
Yeah, if you're gonna need tires or you want to get ahead of it, that would be a good option. And then, Will, you had some very odd.
Speaking of wheels,
issue with your wheels.
All right, so yeah, I feel like I don't know how I need a short way to describe it, but we can start with this. So, back in I honestly don't know when to start this story. It's so weird. But, okay, well, we'll just say this. I've got photos from March and April similar to this photo. What do you see is wrong with this photo? Everybody at home could zoom in. For those who can't view it, there are only 3 lug nuts in that wheel.
Oh, only 3?
So that's 3 out of 6. I drew the little line on there because there are going to be other photos, and it sells the point. This photo, I believe, is the photo from April.
Here, let me show the other ones.
What's the other one? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that one's from April. So that one's from April, and the other one that we just showed was from May. And I know those dates just because I had photos of them, so I have photo record. My Cybertruck was also in at the service center during that time because I had been hearing a clicking sound in the front end. I couldn't figure out what for the life of me it was. I didn't know if it was the air suspension or something was rubbing or whatever, but it was a distinct click that happened at lower speeds when I was turned left or right. So I kept going to Tesla, and they thought that it was the fender liner. And they went and we did a test drive. I did a test drive with one of their head mechanic folks, and he couldn't figure out the clicking either. So they thought it was rubbing the fender liner. lo and behold, I had lent my Cybertruck out, and 2 days into them borrowing it, they contacted me and said I can't drive this anymore because it only has 2 lug nuts in the front. So my lug nuts basically had been loosening and then falling out on their own, because I have a photo from March somewhere. I didn't provide it, so sorry. But I only had four lug nuts visible, and then the April and May, there's only 3. This is from, I believe, May 20th, where there's only 2, and they were loose at the time when this photo was taken. So my truck had been into Tesla service, and they had been, they normally check the tire pressure and do the, general, all that stuff. And I'm like, but they didn't catch the lug nuts were missing. I didn't catch that the lug nuts were missing. I accept my own fault in this as well. But when I tried to make them aware of it, the service manager there started saying that they had photos from each one of these repairs and indicated that they had photos that showed all of the lug nuts, basically saying these are fake photos, or saying I didn't have these photos, but he had, or I did have these photos, but he had photos that definitely showed they had all their lug nuts. And so I was like, but I mean, this is over a pattern of time, and one of the excuses that they tried to use was like, okay, well, sometimes people who rent it on Turo, not you, but sometimes people, when they rent them on Turo, people make videos about like doing teardowns on the cars. They take the wheels off, they do the stuff, and then they put it back together and they hand it back to you. And I'm like, okay, but are you? I didn't get to say this to the guy, but I'm like, are you suggesting that the people who are using my truck making videos taking the wheels off happen to be not putting on the same lug nuts every single time? Because that'd be amazing if it was true. Anyway, it's all so far in the past that I was kind of like, this is frustrating me. So I ended up just not talking to them. So when I went to get this looked at, and get the replacement lug nuts for it, and they did their check on it, they were like, okay, well, you put the lug nuts back in, so here's 4 more lug nuts. Sorry, that was it. And then I go home, and the manager calls me. That's when we had the conversation about, oh, well, I have these photos showing that they were repaired correctly. And I'm like, all right, I don't know what to do with that, but fine. About 20 minutes later, I get a phone call from their service department saying, hey, we want to send a mobile tech out to come and retorque all your wheels. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. Sure, if that's important to you. And they came out, they retorqued all of my wheels. 5 of the 6 lug nuts on each wheel was not torqued to spec. And my car had just been at Tesla service, and they said that they had just done the full diagnostics with concerns for the lug nuts. That's why I was there. But they didn't actually retorque them all, or they weren't fully. I don't know. I literally just driven it home, and then it was there. So now I've just got Tesla service saying, well, there were lug nuts there the whole time. We have photos, and I have these photos. It basically just left me a really, really lousy taste in my mouth dealing with that service department.
Service department?
Tesla service. Yeah.
It was okay. That's fine.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's shitty. Because for context, like, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I take photos of it all the time, all the way around, specifically for Turo, because if you don't take certain angles and a number of photos, you can't actually use their insurance claims. So it's
Yes.
very adamant to take it. But that's interesting that it went on for so long and easy to miss. I feel like that wouldn't happen in our case, because I put like little like cosmetic lug nut covers over, so it'd be pretty obvious if one was missing. But yeah, that's a case where it was completely missing, and just think if you had the aero caps on, you would have not even known.
Yeah,
you'd hear it rattling around in there.
and the lug nut issue is honestly like service is I feel like a business to business thing. I mean, say what you will about what Tesla's doing with their headcount and layoffs and stuff. The fact remains, every service center I've been to, generally they're run by somebody who's very happy and very responsible with what they're doing. And if they're not, there's another service center not far away who is. So, trust that there's something to it somewhere. But yeah, I did kind of have that wonder. I was like, I feel like there are other stories on the Cybertruck forum about people talking about that their lug nuts had been falling out, that there were some missing. And so I'm like, oh, is this, it's going to be lug nut gate? Is that the next issue or something? And part of me is wondering, I'm like, if it's in any way on their radar, could it be a reason why they're holding back on the aero caps for people with this wheel design? Is there more to it? I don't know.
True.
Tinfoil hat off.
Well, I think we
it's
also
scary.
did confirm the new aero caps. I feel like from what we saw, we were speculating on the website. I feel like that is kind of the case now. Now we're seeing
But have we
those.
seen any of them on the road?
No,
Not the
I
new
haven't.
aero caps.
Yeah, and
Oh
it's like,
no,
I mean,
the new. Sorry, the new street tires. We did see. I did
we
see
have seen those. Okay,
a photo
okay.
of one at least, but outside of that, I hadn't seen the new aero caps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, we went over the new aero caps a few weeks ago from their website, but I haven't seen any of them actually hit the road. Where they're actually being delivered. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on there, but we'll just find out when some random guy posts that he got it at delivery. So that's when we'll find out.
Yeah.
Or I'd lose faith and buy some Chinese wheels and say screw it. We'll see.
There you go. There you go. Why not?
I just wish that somebody at Tesla would answer these questions, but instead I have endless amounts of ads explaining why the 56 billion payout is important and how much innovation
Did you
Elon
vote?
has everywhere. And like, yeah, everybody vote. You guys vote. You vote. I'm like, oh my god. Just
Well,
tell
you
me about
guys,
the
you
car.
guys read my mind. This is why we're so good, because I was going to talk about
Oh yeah.
how you can win a factory tour with Elon and Franz if you vote. So they want you to vote. If you are a Tesla shareholder, and there's some stipulations here, you have to be a shareholder or stockholder prior to April 15th, I believe. And then after you do your vote, you have to follow the instructions on how to submit your entry for this giveaway, so to speak. And they're not really giving you much time, because they're saying you need to submit your proof of voting by Friday, June 7th, and the tour will be 5 days later.
Yeah.
So
don't get
someone
me wrong,
like me that's in California to do that turnaround.
Yeah, it's kind of tight.
It's kind of tight. So
I would love to, spend a few hours with Elon and Franz around the Gigafactory, but given the context, this doesn't look good. Like, this is not like a good look for the situation.
I was gonna say this. So let's just do a walk through the logic here. When you ask people to vote shares, who are the groups? Who are the two groups? You have institutional investors and retail investors. Institutional investors couldn't give a shit about a tour of Tesla with Elon and Franz. They're busy counting money from so many sources. They do not give a crap about this. Half these people aren't even voting it. They're probably voting by proxy and letting their fund managers or whoever potentially vote these shares. This is to appeal to retail investors. And why do you go through the effort to doing retail investors? Sure, you can make the argument of, okay, we want to make sure that it's such a huge turnout on behalf of Elon to positively get what they want across, that, they want the landslide. They're just doing, this is how they're going to achieve it. Or they're trying to entice the retail investors because they're already concerned about what the institutional investor vote split looks like. And he's hoping the retail investors, the people they can appeal directly to with this, that they'll come to his rescue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like it. When I seen it,
I think that it's okay. I think, keep in mind this, and say what I will about how I feel about Tesla right now, the direction that, what I'm driving and what I'm doing. Tesla has the promise of existing for a very long time, because they were the first ones to the game, really making electric vehicles possible, positive, interesting. I mean, you remember the old Simpsons joke, and it's like, we're electric cars. We can't go very fast or very far. And there's some more I won't repeat. But the rest, but it's like, it went from that to making cars that people wanted, and there's a positivity to it. There's so many thousands of employees at Tesla. To continue to drag them all into this frickin' mud-slinging shit show is such a disservice that in my heart, I'm like, you know what? If Elon's like, well, I didn't get my payday, I'm leaving, I'm done, blah. I'm like, okay, these cars will still be amazing. They'll still be innovating some new stuff. Hell, I think that there's something to be said about seeing what new management would look like for this company at this point in their life. I like the cars. Elon can do whatever the hell he wants. So I'm like, okay, if he doesn't get his vote or whatever, I just don't want to see it decline. I don't want to see it voted into a place where they can't continue to innovate. And I don't know what happens there, but it's like with Elon there trying or Elon not there, it seems like the only danger is if Elon decides to just run it into the ground. And I can appreciate if they're trying to avoid that. They should circumvent it at all costs. But Tesla,
It's a
I think,
strategy.
can still exist. Yeah, I'm just curious to see how close it's going to be.
Yeah,
Seems to be the whole point of this year. Voting in November or this thing. It's like, Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
Right. If I had to speculate, I would probably guess that he's probably trying to clear some cash from the Twitter sale, just to cover some of that, and that's probably where the push is coming from, so that he doesn't have to like pull cash from other ways, and it would affect Tesla or SpaceX or whoever in a negative route.
I agree. So I missed this, so I apologize, but Hugo has been in the chat. So what's up, Hugo? He's one of our regulars. We appreciate him. Also, we have SJ, who chimed in and said that they heard us talking about service centers, and they state that their Cyber Beast is at a service center now. He or she loves their truck, but they've had a horrible experience at the Tyson Service Center in Virginia.
Yeah.
He's stating that they're uninformed about Cybertrucks. So,
which sounds right.
It sounds right? I think we talked about it last podcast, maybe 2 podcasts ago. The service centers, and in my conversations with them when I've been there, they say that Tesla doesn't give them any information. They're learning as the trucks come in, and they're learning as the issues are arising, which is frustrating on their end as well. They're frustrated with that lack of communication. So it's kind of frustrating to hear, number one, us as consumers to have very little, given to us. They're not really explaining much to us. And then that's actually happening within the company at service centers. So my advice to SJ would be, don't get too frustrated with the service centers. It's not necessarily their fault. Tesla is not relaying much information to them, so they're having a hard time as they're learning, on the job.
I'll start at the most recent, and despite the frustration, and anybody will piece together, the service center I was talking about from before is in Upland, California. I wanted to make sure, I'll say Tesla Service Center a few more times. I wanted to make sure that at least the people there that I have dealt with on these issues, I mean, when I mentioned the mechanic specifically I did the ride along with, we both missed the lug nuts. I don't want to call him out specifically any more than any of the other service folks. I think Alexis was there helping me, and she even called me after the fact to try and smooth things over and understand where I was coming from with a lot of it, and just to understand what the experience had been. Because the joke that I think that I made with one of them was, I was like, it doesn't seem like Tesla really was ready for you guys to service these cars.
Yeah.
It seems like they were selling them before they gave you guys the tools or the knowledge how to work these trucks. And they were like, point blank, yeah, that's what happened. We're like, we're getting handed these trucks, and we don't have the tools to do the repairs. We don't have the parts necessarily. We don't have the education on how to do it. We haven't digested how to do these repairs. So, as frustrating as the service center experience has been for me, and I'm sure for other people, it's kind of the frustration, I think, for us more so than what we're experiencing with the cars is the fact that we can see this like patchwork, this mixture. We can see that people are trying, but there's only so much that they can do.
Exactly.
And at some point, somebody's got to be like, again, if Tesla is to survive in that long term I was talking about, they've got to solve this service issue. They've got to apply the quality control that they're learning to get onto their assembly line. They need to institute it on the service process. Otherwise, I mean, nobody's going to want a Tesla because everyone's going to be like, no, I've heard that they take forever to repair. I hear that the people don't even know how to repair it. I hear that they cancel the appointment at the last minute and move it a week out because of this or that. these are not nefarious choices that Snidely Whiplash at the service centers trying to screw up your day. They are genuinely doing the best that they can. They just have to work with what they're handed, and sometimes they're getting handed a lot of stuff to juggle. So
yeah, learning on the fly for sure. If anything, maybe swing by Unplugged Performance. They have a lot of experience at this point. They probably are actually well versed in tearing apart these things at this point. I will say though, a service point for myself out here, I went to one of the Austin service centers, just showed up on a whim and was like, "Hey, can I get my recall fixed?" And they were just like, "Yeah, sure, here you go." It's like 20 minutes. It was in and out, and it was actually a really good experience. And I've been sharing that with like other Cybertruck owners as well in the area because service appointments are backed up. So it's like you're going to be scheduling out like 2 to 3 weeks in advance, which is disheartening if you have a real big issue. But it might be worth just to call or swing by if it's drivable, if you can figure out what's going on. Because, yeah, it's still kind of new and very early for this truck even now.
Yeah, they're all learning. We're all learning. And
they're learning to do it with fewer people on hand. And I'm sure that stings them just as much as it stings us.
Yeah. Definitely have to have patience with them because it's definitely not their fault. Where was I? I wanted to show you guys. Where the heck is it? Oh, I found this super cool that somebody was able to do something with that mirror, right? So a lot of people are suggesting take off the mirror because it's pointless. This guy installed a radar detector, but the cool part about it, the thing that I find really interesting, is that he tapped into a power source in that area that is giving out 15 volts, he says.
Wow.
Which is super encouraging because I'm thinking, like what I've been saying for a long time, is I want to put a screen there with the rear view camera. And the question is, I don't want wires hanging everywhere, so can I find power? And this guy apparently found that there's power under there. He says right here, I tapped 2 wires into the 2-pin connector inside the cabin camera housing. That connector provides around 15 volts. So I thought that was cool. He 3D printed his little bracket and put his radar detector up there. So
that's awesome.
It's cool to see that people are utilizing that.
I'm trying to think of what could possibly be in there that would require power, and I'm like, oh, it's probably the heater, because there's a heater in there to keep the autopilot clear, and when the windscreen freezes and frosts over, that's how it clears itself. So he probably tapped directly into that.
Yeah,
because if the camera,
especially if it's only a 2-pin, then it's probably just a positive, negative lead, no data. So yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Good luck if he ever gets pulled over, but that's still pretty cool. I will say I've seen specifically people that have removed the rear view mirror. It leaves kind of like a gap in that kind of hexagonal like section. And I've also seen people 3D print little like plugs to plug in that to make it a little flush.
Yeah, that's what cool. I wouldn't want. I wouldn't want just a hole right there. It's just, I don't know. I'm weird, so I'd want to cap it or something. Wanted to also get into what were they thinking situation here.
Is it the link I sent?
I don't know if you sent this one. We'll find out.
Let's see. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yeah, okay. I did share this though. But yeah.
So, and the caption is, "Be careful who you're renting your Cybertruck to on Turo." Because this is the kind of stuff that's happening, is that these guys are...
Which, there's so many things going wrong in this situation. One is, why didn't they get cut in half, for one? Two, why... Like, okay, doing a donut, that's fine, but it's almost impossible to do donuts on this thing on street unless you're in off-road mode. And judging by their mental capacity to make good decisions, I doubt that they actually put it in off-road mode before trying to do a donut in reverse, mind you. But that's all I got.
Yeah. So that was hands down. What were they thinking? Moment.
What were we talking about earlier about people's lack of awareness? I feel like that's pretty much the peak. It's like, oh yeah, let's definitely we haven't practiced this little donut loop de loop or whatever. Let's just do it live. Hell yeah, just punch it, and full send. And you're like, oh, whoops, ran over a few people.
Yeah. Because I've talked to people that actually have tried to attempt to do donuts, and they're like, we couldn't get it because the traction control is so good that you can't do donuts on this thing unless you turn that thing off.
Yeah, that was I don't get it. But let's do our just the tip with Will, and we'll allow him to get into his favorite subject, which is the one and only Miss Kardashian.
We got some new Kardashian footage.
Well, it's her
second Cybertruck. Oh my god.
Second
Cybertruck. Which
are these the new aero caps? I want to know. Either that or she trimmed them, because that was a big controversy.
Oh, we got the.
Because they are shorter.
They are shorter. They don't go into the little.
Because these could be the new aero caps.
I think she painted it. I don't think that's a wrap. I think she painted it. Because look at the interior. Look at the inner panels. The inner chassis next to the door for, I guess, the B-pillar or whatever. Yeah. It's black in there, too.
True.
Well, I do know that in here, you guys can see my mouse, right?
Yes.
My cursor? Yeah. Right here, I do know that's black.
Yeah, exactly.
That's over here, it's not.
Yeah.
But over here, this is stainless steel.
I've seen people
it could
wrap
be wrapped.
that inner stainless steel. Yeah, I've seen that wrapped, and it looks nice.
Okay.
But mainly it's the interior. The white interior that's gray, it raises the question, is this something that Tesla gave her directly to show off their new, gray interior option, or was it done custom?
Well, I think so. I mean, we've spent how many podcasts talking about her and her Cybertrucks? I mean,
yeah,
mainly because of Will's infatuation with Miss Kardashian.
Hey.
And we hijacked his segment, so go ahead, Will.
Go for it.
What can I say that you guys haven't?
What's the tip?
What's the tip? You have a tip apparently.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of one. It's been a long week. My tip this week: Cybertruck owners, go check your lug nuts.
Yes. Yeah. There you go.
100%.
Get yourself a tire iron. If just give them a little tweak. Just give them a little torque, or at best, just go count them. Just make sure they're there.
Yeah.
Take the caps off. Do what you got to do.
Count them also before. Here's a tip: count them before you buy lug nuts or lug nut covers.
Yeah.
Because I ordered 20 and realized I was 4 short.
You were a little off.
Did you really? They sold them in 20?
Yeah. I'm like, what? Okay. I think because their thinking was that 5, 5, and 5, 20, but they're 6 sixes. But yeah, that was 4 short.
It's going to be a little bit of a cheating situation right here, but I have to show it as it's the wrap of the week, but it's actually not a wrap.
Spoiler.
So
this
apparently is the first machine polished Cybertruck.
Been waiting.
It reminds me of Tars from Interstellar. It's so shiny and just oh my gosh.
That is crazy.
They did the product placement, but they didn't flip the picture.
Oh yeah.
No,
so the picture is mirrored, so you can't even read.
And look how dirty these guys got.
Oh my gosh. What?
Talk about rolling coal.
Yeah.
Oh my god. They look like the little rascals when it did the exhaust pipe gag.
For real.
Gosh.
He's even got the hat for it. But yeah, these guys got.
That's
cool. I mean, look at his hands. This guy, he kept his hands clean though.
He had gloves
on.
He must have had gloves
on. Nitrile gloves, yeah. Good thing he had gloves on.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks cool. If you put this next to a default, it's 100% way better. The first thought I had, just because we went transparent because we wanted to see what was underneath it, what this would look like with a wrap over top of it, I think would just be super sick. Just to see
your
what
wrap.
It would look like.
Chase, your wrap. Tinted, doing that. Do the tinted.
PPF, super chrome. Oh man, it would look cool.
That would actually look really cool. Now, I wonder, did it take off? It's etched the Foundation series, but
Oh, it must have etched it off
He
for
must
sure.
have removed it. He must have
it
gone
did,
over it.
right? It
There's
had
no
to.
way.
Yeah, there's no
Well, yeah,
way.
the polishing process would have flattened out the edge.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because right now I was looking at it and I go, I don't see any Foundation series. So once again, it's not a wrap, but I wanted to show it.
Bravo.
People are going to think it's a wrap. People are going to be like, oh, it's probably a chrome wrap or something like that. It's like, no, this is literally, right there. Bam.
Which we've seen on that already before. We've seen like the straight chrome, color change PPF, or not PPF, but vinyl, chrome vinyl.
That's just crazy. I wonder how much this cost. That's a lot of work.
I mean, assuming it took only a day. I don't know.
Shout out to all the PPE they're wearing. Good work, guys. I see 2 without hearing protection right next to pneumatic tool. No, those are electric, but yeah. And 0 face protection. Well done, guys. You breathed in stainless steel for hours.
Professionals.
They're pros.
Well,
so
I'd like to see it because I think we're going to see more of that. Like heat treatment is another big one I feel like we haven't seen yet. There's so many different things you can do with that stainless steel that would look really cool.
And just because I feel really bad, I feel like I'm going to get told something. Let's just, wrap of the week. There you go.
There you go.
I'm in.
I really like this. Those are the, because I saw this earlier today and I meant to make a comment on our X account and then I got busy with other stuff. But these are probably the only, I'm guessing these are 32-inch wheels. These are probably the only 32s I like. Because we've seen a few of the other ones up in Dallas that were really gaudy, but these are cool. I like this.
The Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
I will also put the shot out there because I like what they're doing, but I feel like somebody needs to get them to step their game up. I want to see some designs that remove the mirrors and replace them with something custom.
Oh.
I want to, it's like, I get it. Yeah, like the rest of the car looked sick. They definitely had their touch. But I see those freaking rearview mirrors, and I'm like, you could do something with those. Come on, guys.
I think in this case, they should have just taken them off and leave them off.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This one specifically, I think it would have looked really clean without the mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
I just like using mine too much that I don't want to take mine off.
Yeah.
So they're just good to drive with.
You've spent your whole life driving with mirrors. Why? It's like, I got to change now? Like, no, mirrors made sense. Keep the mirrors. But if you're doing a cool design or a cool, like, aesthetics thing, think it through.
I wanted, we're getting towards the end here. I know it's a long episode, but we had 2 weeks of stuff to cram in here. Wanted to share this. The Kid Rock jelly roll.
Which, I know we talked about the General Lee wrap, right?
Yeah.
General E.
Yes.
But if you notice in this is my biggest takeaway is that the wrap that we looked at on the top trim said General E.
Mm-hmm.
But this one does not. So either A, Kid Rock saw that one and then got this wrapped really fast as the same, or this is the same truck, and then they just added it later.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, because it was on the driver's side, right? I believe. Yeah. Yeah, it's not there.
It's still cool. I think it's kind of cool to see, especially someone like Kid Rock that I feel like people would paint him into, that subculture of okay, especially what he did with Bud Light, oh fuck you and all this, and machine gun with Bud Light and all that, and I feel like you could put that kind of in the same boat of anti EV, but then coming out with a Cybertruck. I think that's kind of cool because I think there is kind of that weird meshing happening with truck guys with the Cybertruck. It's okay. I don't like Teslas, but that thing's pretty cool,
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool.
So Jay is in the chat. He's asking, something that I've talked about that I'm frustrated that the Cybertruck doesn't have. But he's asking if an automatic garage door opener for the Cybertruck will be available at some point. Now, they do have the MyQ system in place. So if you're part of that ecosystem, you have the availability to have the garage door opener built into the Cybertruck. You can always replace your garage door opener in the garage, the actual motor and unit, to be MyQ. And then now, I wouldn't do that, but if somebody wants to do that, they really want to have that. But as far as I know, no, right? There's no plans of going away from MyQ.
I thought about that actually myself, of replacing the garage door opener with a MyQ setup. Mainly because I feel like it's kind of a point of security that some people forget about. Is we had it happen in our neighborhood where people were going and checking to see if the doors are unlocked or not, and they would go through. Once they would find it, they weren't necessarily looking for like valuables in the car. They would be stealing the garage door openers. So then they could come back at a later time, open up the garage, and hopefully get into the house without having to like actually bust open.
So my solution to that is that my house has a system that's so convoluted that I built that I run a home assistant instance, and I have a garage door opener built into that, so I can literally track any of my cars, and as soon as they get within a certain range, open a garage door. And I'm like, yeah. And until somebody figures out how that works, because half the time I can't make it work correctly. But it does a good job.
So I got two more things, guys. Last one is the PowerShare credit that they were giving out. Originally, Tesla was saying Cyber Beast owners would get $4,000 credit towards their PowerShare install. Well, it looks to be that changed. They're now giving a $2,500 Tesla Shop voucher. So the value is $1,500 less. But it also doesn't specify whether this is Cyber Beast specific, does it? No, right?
I think they're changing it, but the thing is that they need to actually make it good on all of us. To be frank, because I got a $700 voucher that I still haven't used, by the way. So I'm actually $1,800 short in vouchers because I haven't installed the PowerShare at all. We delayed that install, and then the service member canceled it, and then they just gave us $700. So it's on my list to do, actually, to call up Tesla and be like, hey, can you make this right, because your policy obviously changed. Can you make it right? Because I I threw down the $20,000 to get the Foundation series to do this. It would make sense to give me, and this is exactly what I've been asking for months now. It's like, okay, I get that I'm not giving the PowerShare. Just give me the same dollar value of the equipment, and then I'm totally fine. And that's actually what they're doing.
But this is also saying that they'll give you the $2,500 regardless of installing or not installing, right?
So you can get the equipment.
Yeah. So it's like, for instance, our situations, you elected to not get PowerShare installed in your home, so they sent you $700, correct?
Right. Well, I didn't elect, but yeah.
Okay, but it didn't happen, and they gave you $700, right?
Yeah.
They canceled it on you. I went through with the PowerShare gateway and install, and I paid roughly $2,500 for that. Based on this line here, it's stating that I should be receiving a $2,500 voucher, right? I mean, am I reading this correctly? That's kind of where I'm at with it, is that, where's my $2,500?
Which I think this is the way that they're going to save their asses, is that if you look at Tesla Shop voucher and you have the little asterisk of power to the 2, if you scroll down, there's actually a cliff note, I believe at the bottom of the page, that they talked about. I don't know if it's actually okay, cool. Where they're like, Yeah, PowerShare equipment requirements and related promotional offerings, including battery amounts, are subject to change.
Yeah,
So they're like,
of
yeah, we can
course.
just do whatever we want. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's I think where they're getting away with it.
Yeah, but that's the problem, is that, it just, and once again, this isn't communicated to us. It's something that somebody has to go and find and then
somebody
share.
found this and shared it.
And this is the whole point of us having the podcast, right?
100%.
Is providing as much information as we can to as many people as we can. And that's the whole point. We're trying to get out as much information because Tesla's not doing it.
Because Will, you said that you already had the power wall, correct? And then they sent you two $700
They
vouchers,
they sent me two, but one of them was definitely by accident. Like I didn't.
Okay.
I checked the value of it, and it didn't. They had canceled it or something. But
so you
because
weren't
I
able
had
to
all the
use that.
equipment, and then they sent me the equipment for they sent me the wall charger. But then there was like never any more discussion about capability, and they were like, okay, well, it'll work someday. And so far, I had never been contacted up until now even. So
I guess that'd be the good question, because even for myself, like, what would be the best way to contact them for this kind of matter? Because I actually sent, funny enough, I went through their whole like contact support page to submit a request. I filled out the form and submitted a request, and I got an email back, literally pointing me back to the support page to contact them. I'm like, no, this didn't actually answer my question. You just sent me right back to ask the same question. So it's just like, do I have to like get a real person on the phone to actually answer this question, or what's the best way?
Yeah.
I don't know how I could try to. I think I wrote it up somewhere. There's a Reddit post about it if anybody really wants to read it. But in 2020, I had gotten solar in my old house, but then I actually moved into a new house for a number of reasons, and I decided to move my solar installation from that house to this house. And so I worked with Tesla. They pulled all the panels down. They boxed up the power wall and all that. Then I got into this house. COVID hit. It was basically March of 2020. And moving forward, I was fighting with Tesla Solar and Tesla Energy to get them to bring me my stuff back, because I'm like, all right, I want to do can you come here and do the install? And they're like, well, your house is new, but we'd have to re-roof it to make sure that something or other. And I'm like, I don't understand any of this. Can I just have my equipment back? And they're like, sure. So they brought it all, put it in the garage. I had to find another installer. So sadly, like, that disrepair has been going on for a long time in Tesla Energy. So the fact that they're now relying so much on it for the Cybertruck owners I was like, this is going to be a pain in the ass when nobody can get anyone on the phone. Because I think I had like 2 or 3 different people I was working with over just a couple of months trying to get my solar equipment back. So now everybody's at that point of, okay, they've had their trucks for a few months. We're hearing that PowerShare is working for some people or something like that. I'm like, okay, they better have somebody start giving answers and shooting videos or answering anything, But I wish I had an answer or even a trick to it. It really just comes down to trying to get in touch with somebody and finding somebody who will make your problem their problem to solve.
Well, I'm quiet because I'm chatting here with SJ. He's in our chat, and he's saying that, because we're on the topic of PowerShare, that he's had no communication from Tesla, from an electrician, from no one in regards to his PowerShare. And what it kind of sounds like is that this is his first EV, or at least first Tesla, and he's having to use the 110 outlet to charge his Cyberbeast. Yeah, so he just confirmed it's his first, or he or she, SJ, their first Tesla.
So if we could rewind a minute, we'll go back and add to just the tip with Will. So one thing that you can do, SJ, is I think it's SJ, right? Yeah, you said SJ.
Yes, Jay. Yes.
You should have gotten a mobile charger with the Cybertruck. In the mobile charger kit, it should have all the a number of different plugs, or at least I think I saw the 2 main ones. which is your standard Edison 3-prong 5-15R I think receptacle, and then the other one is for a NEMA 1450. It's a 50 amp 220 volt plug, which is it's actually 2 legs at 110, but that won't matter to you. Call an electrician, tell them that you want to have a NEMA 1450 installed somewhere near your panel, but somewhere near where you want to charge your car. Get an electrician to come out and give you a quote just on running the conduit, run the channel, and installing a receptacle box for a NEMA 1450. You've got the stuff already in your truck to do level 2 charging. You don't have to wait for a wall charger from Tesla or a wall charger from anybody. You have the stuff, and if you call an electrician, don't mention Tesla on the phone. Make them give you a quote or at least good terms on the phone. Make it sound like it's for like a dryer in your garage that you want to have run, and have a NEMA 1450 plug specifically for that. You can use that, and then you can use your mobile charger at home. It'll let you charge at 220 volts at like 32 amps, which will be way better than the 110 plug.
Totally.
Yeah, he can definitely do that. But then what if, he's looking to get the PowerShare installed, and now he's got to have 2 installs, 2
stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
It is a pain in the butt. But if he's dead in the water as far as getting charging done at home, I'm just trying to warn you.
Yeah.
You think that what you think is urgent to you, I assure you is not urgent to Tesla right now.
Well, of
so
course
if you
not.
need charging at home, I highly recommend call an electrician. Just say you want the NEMA 1450 plug. Don't tell them it's for a Tesla or for an EV or for a charger or whatever. Just say I need a plug in the garage and see if they'll come and quote it, and hide the truck.
just hide a cyber beast just down the street or something.
Yeah, literally go park it somewhere else, because if they see something like that, they'll be like, "Oh, it's a $2,000 install." When for usually for full transparency, it's the equipment from Lowe's or Home Depot for a NEMA 1450 receptacle box and the plug and the wiring and stuff.
It doesn't cost much.
You're talking $200 plus the know-how to do it. It's a $700 or $800 install. They will 100% try to charge you like $2,000.
Yeah,
just for the same thing.
You bring up a great point, because I'm actually curious to see what that would do, because I already have that plug in my garage from when we built the house. We planned for that line when we built, and then I just put the Tesla wall charger plugged straight into that. I think it's V2, and I've got 40 amps coming off that right now. But I'm curious to see, with the mobile charger that came with the truck, what the difference between that would be.
The wall charger supports, I think that most of the wall chargers, assuming that it doesn't detect any problems, the wall charger I think can max at 48 amps, and that's usually if it's on something greater than a 50 amp circuit, because I think it has to be a 60 amp circuit. But if it's on a 60 amp circuit or 50 amp circuit, because you're supporting up to 40 amps, then your mobile charger, it doesn't go. The current mobile chargers that they ship with the cars, they max out at 32 amps. The last ones that did 40 amps were the mobile one. The Gen 1 mobile chargers. I still have the original mobile charger I got with my 2017 Model X, because it was the last mobile charger that went up to 40 amps. All the new ones only do 32.
It's really interesting. It kind of also reminds me that I have a mobile generator that I really want to plug in to the truck to see what I can get, because it also does have a 240 volt outlet from the generator itself, that I could use the mobile charger to the truck and see how much I can get from that. Just in an emergency situation, it'd be nice to be able to put that generator in the bed along with gas or fuel or whatever I need to go take it with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel bad for SJ. It's frustrating. But moving on, last thing that I wanted to talk about was the fact that a Cybertruck was actually up online on Tesla's inventory website. There was one available for purchase. Just
Did it give details about it, like VIN or anything?
No, not that I No, nothing more than what's showing here. But it's interesting because, you know, you hear so many people talking about how they're still waiting, right, for their VINs. They're still waiting for delivery of their trucks, and then you see something like this, and it kind of makes you wonder how was there one available? I know that William has been an investigator and been stalking his local service center and took this little snapshot of how many did you say, Will?
So I tried to count it as quickly as I could driving by, but I'm seeing like 5, 10, 15. Just in this front row, it looks like almost 20 or at 20, and these were all double parked. Every
Yeah.
one of those butt ends of a Cybertruck, there was a Cybertruck parked in front of it.
Yeah.
And some of them
Yes.
were Cyber Beasts because I actually walked around the lot the other day when I was there. I walked around the inventory lot for these vehicles, and I saw Cyber Beasts and all-wheel drive, and the VIN was like 12,300 or something like that. It was pretty high, or not? It's the highest we've heard of.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Why? Just your guys's. None of us know for sure. Why do you think this is the case? Why is there that many Cybertrucks sitting on a lot? Is it trucks that are waiting to be delivered? Are they trucks that got shipped there and people just decided not to take delivery? Are they just inventory? Like what's going on here? Because this isn't the first that we've seen online.
Well, it's been going on for a couple of months now. We were just talking about last month that these are trucks that are awaiting the recall fix or whatever fixes, you know, and we're like we already just talked about like the service appointments. Right? But yeah, it seems like we would be past that at this point. Yeah. So the question is up in the air.
I'm just figuring that they are continuing to produce these based on the pre-orders. I think that it's not just. I mean, these are all, I guess, the main configuration. I'm willing to bet, or some mix of the new interior that they've been doing. I think that they've just been manufacturing them, and to try and reach that capacity, which clearly they're hitting their numbers because we're seeing so many of them compared to the ramp for the Model 3. This is going pretty solid. So I wonder if they're basically making these and then like adding the Foundation series to it and then designating the VIN on the back end to get lifetime premium connectivity, to get full self-driving enabled. If you buy it as an FSD, as a Foundation series, but at some point in the future when they start fulfilling the pre-orders for people who are like they've been waiting for a long time, it's like, all right, well, yeah, you can have this one. It's literally the same. It just doesn't have the Foundation series etching and the premiums behind it. So I feel like these are basically the non-Foundation series. They're just holding them back because they want to keep selling Foundation series.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment because either that or they're actually the amount of space in the parking lot is continuing to be cycled through, but they're not selling them fast enough to deplete the supply.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I just think about, the old Tesla ways was delivery was a spectacle, so to speak, right? When you would go buy a Tesla years ago, I mean, you were there for quite a while. They would really make you feel special about you're buying a Tesla. They don't do that anymore. I think ever since the Model 3, and especially the Model Y, it's kind of like you just come pick up and we want you out of here because we got another appointment. We got to get these out of here, right? Obviously, the early VIN numbers on the Cybertruck, they were a little bit more, there was a whole show put on. I'm not sure if they're still doing that. So I'm kind of looking at that many Cybertrucks and I'm going, if you have 30, 40 Cybertrucks sitting there, you can get those out within a couple days. And I'm not sure if they're getting 10 to 20 Cybertrucks every 1 to 2 days to where it's replenishing. So it's kind of, it just makes me think what is going on. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, anecdotally too, like keeping eyes on a lot of the Cybertruck groups and things here and there. Like it seems like it's almost every day that someone's like, hey, I just got delivery, just got delivery. So like we're seeing multiple per day across the country that they're taking deliveries. So they're putting them out there, but I'm wondering if it's at a pace that they're selling them at 1,000 a week, that they're producing them. I think that might be the offset, or you could be right that they're like, okay, we're not etching them until the very last minute to be foundation series, so they're ready to be non-foundation if need be, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which raises the question of like, what does a non-foundation Cybertruck look like? Because I would assume that they're all coming with the same interior, all the premium interior, and all these other upcharges that we got. So who knows?
Well, yeah, I
Next
think
time you're there, look inside.
honestly, that's how I saw the VIN number, because it's like it's not in the usual spot in the front of the windshield. I had to like look around a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
on next week's podcast, we're going to be sharing the story of how Will got arrested.
Yeah. Remind me to put the digital background up of a prison cell next week. Nobody knows.
And then your segment of just the tip is going to take a whole new meaning. But
don't
drop the soap. The new tip.
So, but that's all I have, guys. I don't know if you guys have anything else you guys want to share or talk about, but
now, there's one thing I was going to bring up, but I'll just boil it down to: don't lie for clicks. Like that's just stupid. I hate parts of the internet that does that.
What did I do now?
No, you didn't do anything.
You know what you did.
I shared it. If you want to look it up, you can find it. But I honestly don't even want to bring it up because I don't want this guy to get more views and attention. But he put a fog machine in the bed of his Cybertruck, and he legitimately drove it into some water. And he tried to say that, oh, I was off-roading with my Cybertruck and I went into some water and now it's all smoking and I don't know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Completely just a blatant lie. Like we talked about this before about the car wash incident where he was lying for TikTok likes. He admitted to the lie and didn't want to retract it. This guy is just flat out just blatantly lying. So if you see anything questionable, just use your noggin.
Yeah, I share a lot of my comments with you guys. I get so many comments from people, and it's why would you buy that car? Don't you know? Like one of the latest comments was, don't you know that the pedal comes off, you can't go through a car wash, and like all these, the rusting and all these different fake news type of situations, and I usually don't respond to people like that because it's just, but I responded back to them and I go, dude, you got to do your research, man, and I debunked everything. And I go, you can't just see a headline and go, oh, that's what's happening. Because like you're saying, this guy's putting a fog machine in the back and going, hey, I'm smoking. I guarantee you on my next video, I'm going to get a guy. Did you see the guy that's smoking because he went in water?
Yeah. And I brought up the same thing where like I've heard it twice now. Like once was going into a car wash, like the attendant who was working, they're like, oh yeah, my dad's friend had a Cybertruck and it caught fire, blah blah blah, and all this. And I'm like, I guarantee you that didn't happen, because if a Cybertruck was on fire, that would have been straight on the news on the internet right away, and we would have been talking about it on this podcast.
Yeah.
Granted, that did not happen. It's a lot of hearsay, and there's a lot of that goes on just from a little bit of like clickbait that people attach to, because either they love or hate the Cybertruck, and then they get their confirmation bias and they just run with it. So
exactly,
just do some thinking. That's all I ask.
And that is Chase's tip.
That's just my tip.
That's
use
his
your
soapbox. Yep. All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. I thank you to SJ for comments. Will, RJ, Bill, Hugo, all the guys. Thank you, Mark, everyone. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week.
Ooh. Yep. Later.